Hello, welcome to Actual Play. This is Traveler, Moon's Leviathan. We're picking this jam back up. We set her down for a minute or two, and we're back. I'm Sean Nittner. I use he, him pronouns. I will be playing Alexi, the once custodian of the orbital space station Ithaca, now pirate trying to get his brother, trying to stop a mutiny, or an usurpation, but by piracy, right? You stop usurpation through piracy. It's a good plan. Anywho, I'm excited to get back in the saddle or in the cockpit, as the case may be, and play some more of this lovely game, Traveler, powered by the apocalypse that we just fucking make up as we're going along. As usual, all proceeds from the channel are being split between Black Lives Matter and the Trans Legal and Education Defense and Education Fund. I'm messing up the acronym. So if you click the buttons, the things that make us go money wise, that's where it'll go. So if you want to do that. How about you, Judd? Judd, you are muted, which is a thing.
I like being muted. It was done on purpose. It is the Trans Legal Defense and Education Fund.
That's it. Thank you.
I usually forget the education part, so I'm glad.
I usually say Legal Defense Fund, and then I'll keep remembering it. I think it's perhaps it was renamed, but or maybe I just always had it wrong. But
yeah.
Thank you for.
I think I was getting that wrong. All right, good to know. Hey, I'm Judd. He, him, and it's nice to be back, and it's nice to be playing and find out what happens to. I look at a nickname I have for him, Lex the Lawless. Was that like a wartime nickname?
Yeah, that was a wartime nickname. Yeah.
Okay.
He's
kind of lived up to it.
I mean, yeah, I certainly didn't expect to, but that's what he was called when he was doing raids on Troy.
Nice, good stuff. Yeah. And yeah, I'm doing all right. And if you need to find me later, if you're looking for more Judd voice, there is the Daydreaming About Dragons show, which is a podcast I put out where I about anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes long. It's been getting up into 30 for a couple episodes. Usually it's around 20, where I talk about a tabletop technique, and then Inspiration Goat brings me a piece of media and bleats at me, and then I talk about that piece of media and how it could inspire things in our gaming. So that's what I've been up to. Doing that, lots of blogging on my blog, Gith Yankee Diaspora. I've been playing a lot of D&D lately, a lot of D&D 5e.
Nice.
I'm glad I didn't get that indie RPG for life across my belly tattoo, because I would be really embarrassed right now. I still love indie RPGs, but yeah, a tattoo across my belly is funny. Anyway, that's excited. The last I actually watched, it's been a while. And the nice thing about archiving our games, one of the many nice things, is that we can go back and see what the heck happened. And the last thing that happened is you hijacked you didn't hijack, you broke into a freighter ship, to a merchant ship, to steal from the cargo bay, and you saw the engineer nun who we knew from earlier, and she basically handed you your brother's sword, the
true sword, even
the true sword of your family, and you and basically said, like, I had to smuggle this out because your brother was worried about being overthrown.
Yeah.
And so that's where then I think we kind of ended it there.
Yeah. I think we were kind of like, I think, and I think the piracy was successful as well.
Yeah.
We'd gotten in, and since you watched it, I have a doc. I should just open that doc up. I'm so bad about remembering names. It's, I don't know.
I also have a doc. Who are you looking for?
The names of the pirates that I'm doing all this work with.
Um,
Mm,
that is a great question that I definitely should know the answer to.
I mean, we all should. All right. Sister Theano is the engineer nun, I believe.
Nice.
And
Yep.
and Captain Klaus Studebaker?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
That's it. Okay.
We went with like a very different. I wanted it to be very not in Homer.
Yes,
Uh,
not non-Homeric names, yeah.
cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks for folks watching. Thanks for your patience with us as we're all winding back up. Yeah, so I think where I am at, like as a player, I think what I'm interested in like finding out is how this act, like how things are going on Ithaca, and like how this act of piracy has shaken things up, if at all. So I can envision that being like flash forward to a little bit, and we're getting reports from folks, or even flash forward to sneaking back onto Ithaca to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about what to do with this sword other than keep it safe.
Right.
Um, but I think in order, my suspicion, the plan that Captain Studebaker presented was, let's pirate from Ithaca so that the new leadership looks weak, and the
Right.
Duke is less likely to um, leave them in control, to leave Nestor in control, leave
Right.
Nestor's sister in control.
Right.
Um, and I think, does it sound like a sensible, or like, I don't know, who cares about sensible, like a fun next step to like try and sneak in and find out
I mean, you could sneak
how
in.
things.
I think you could also look at data and read a sitch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got to move for that, so we could do that. You can kind of get an idea of where you're at and where the station's at, and see if you want to sneak back in.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Let's read a sitch. I think this is sometime later, and I think this is a couple days, week, whatever, enough time that the attack would have been noticed and ripples would have come out from it. And um, I'm imagining. I want an element of danger here. So I'm imagining uh, this is Alexei in a ship that is just outside, the shipping zones, just outside, like that's like picking up feed from Ithaca and sorting through it, because that's where I need to get the information. Possibly close enough that I'd be detected. Who knows? Does that sound cool to you?
yep, yep,
And I think this benefits Klaus as well, in terms of, this is reconnaissance for maybe another hit. If it turns out that the last one was effective and working, that's Lexi's going to repeat it. So
cool.
let's do that thing. Um, I am I am boggled by the fact that I have um, a folder for this game, and that I don't have the burned over rules in it. I do have them. I'm just trying to figure out where the heck. There they are. I'm putting them in the same stinking folder, so it's all in one place. Good,
Very
good,
smart.
good move, Sean. Only the sixth session before I finally got everything. Want to become famous? Oh man, do I so want to ban? No,
Oh
I don't
man,
want to become. Come
everyone
on,
I know
it
who wants
counts
to
as
become
credit.
famous definitely like says, you know what I'm going to do to become famous? I'm gonna I'm gonna
I'm
mix
gonna.
Traveler and Apocalypse World so they're indecipherable, and so that both fans of Apocalypse World and Traveler are confused, and then play that game intermittently with my friend online, and that is going to just rocket me into Hollywood. I mean,
into
how are they
Hollywood.
going?
Yeah,
How can they resist that story of
I
that
mean, it's
scrappy
such
middle aged white
it's
gamer?
such a yeah. Yeah, it's such a winning story. I, for some reason, can't even ban this person. This is fun. Am I not logged in as me? Am I logged in with the wrong freaking account? God, we're
I'm
such
logged.
pros.
I am logged in as me, and I'm trying to figure out. I think there's like a moderator mode now.
Yeah,
I think switch to non-mod settings. No, I don't know. I don't. We're coming for you,
we're coming for
Fambot.
you.
It's slow. It's slow, but this is, and in a lot of ways, this is a very science fiction way to start the game. I've
Yeah.
got to say, it's in flavor.
All
Oh my
right.
goodness,
Ban. Yeah. I mean, account suspended or deactivated. It's like it's already been deleted, but it's still there somehow
great.
in.
Yeah,
Okay, there we
I,
go.
yeah,
I had to do a text. I had to do. I had to ban them in with the text command slash ban space username.
got it.
When in doubt.
I reported them, and then Twitch just reported to me that they are banned. Anyway, are you reading a sitch? Is that what's going on? You're kind of
Yeah,
like,
that's
is
what
this
I'm reading a situation. Yeah, because I want to, and specifically, yeah, the way this looks is a little
yeah,
tiny shuttle. Hopefully, like a little tiny shuttle. I'm hiding in. This was a tactic we used on Troy all the time, which is that we're hiding. I'm like in one of the moon's orbits. Like I'm going when the moon is. I'm like on the far side of the moon from Ithaca, so that my sensors will just pick me up as like background radiation. At least that's the plan. It could certainly fail, but that's how I'm getting close enough to Ithaca to like
cool.
pick up their streams. And
Got
I'm
it.
trying to figure out like how it all went down. Like what was the reaction? Is this working? Is my brother in danger? Do they know the true sword is gone? That's the sort of feats I'm going through.
Got it.
So. Where do I go to roll? I go here. And what trait am I using? I think I'm rolling brawling. I think I'm rolling jack of all
Okay.
trades
Okay.
because I don't have any kind of
Sneaky sneak stuff.
you know, data scouring and or sneaky sneak stuff. I mean, liaison maybe. So for friends watching home, when you roll jack of all trades, it you get to roll that for anything you don't have. But the downside is that you get a sort of reduced effect. It's even on a 10, I'm going to get something that might look more like a 9, 7 to 9. So we will see what my jack of all trades. Oh well, but on a 6, you just always get a 6,
Got it.
and that's what I got.
Cool. Um, yeah. Who do you think's piloting the shuttle? Like, because you're kind of on the outside, right? Are you like in the void trying to, or are you in the shuttle piloting it?
Uh, no, I think let's make this. I think my guess is, um, even though I've been training with the crew, I'm trying to see if we have the names of the crew that I've been training with. I don't know that we do.
I don't know that we've named them.
Yeah, but Studebaker pointed out. Uh, he pointed out that that I wasn't training them to go on these missions on their own. I was training them to go on these missions with me. And so I think I'm with some of my crew. My new crew.
Right.
So let's give some of these folks names. What was the naming convention you're using? What was the?
I think I was doing Germanic. Germanic swordsman. I don't know if I pulled Klaus from that. I might have been like, I'm going to name them after Germanic swordsmen. And then I was like, the only German name I could think of is Klaus. So,
Yeah.
because I didn't have a list of uh, Germanic swordsmen yet.
Well, I think this is Fenya
Cool.
Arneth.
Cool.
And she is pirate member of Alexi's crew. Okay, so I think Fenya um, is piloting, and I think it's a small enough shuttle that it's like we're both side by side, and she's on navigation and I'm on communications, and I'm like, okay, once you get here, park it right here, and then we'll start listening in on the feeds. And that's the plan.
Yeah. And I think there's a beep from her console as you're trying to get into the Ithaca station feeds. And it is the beep of a ship locking, uh, locking cannon telemetry uh, onto your shuttle. And she starts to, she starts to do what you're supposed to do, which is throw up chafe and take evasive.
Yeah.
But it's a shuttle. It's not made for this, and she's definitely. I would think that what would you think that your training taught her about this when you're just kind of outclassed and in a lot of trouble?
Yeah, I think the answer is whenever you're facing a ship that's got superior arms, you want to go into an environment that's inhospitable enough that it makes it that it sort of levels the playing ground a little bit. And
Oh
since we're
wow,
already in orbit since we're already hiding out in orbit of one of these moons, I think it's go into Atmo and force the ship to sort of chase you into atmosphere and into less into find some place on the moon
yeah,
to dodge them. So yeah, so I think when I see that and she starts piloting, I just sort of I look at like where I see her navigational course, and if it looks like if that's what it looks like she's doing, I sort of I start sending jamming frequency to try and like bias a
cool,
moment before they can like lock missiles on us, right? Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
just a bit so that they're gonna have to chase us down.
nice. Um, yeah, I think the some of the electric systems on the ship are starting to kind of overload
Yeah.
you know, due to like a warship having locked onto it,
Yep.
and it's not a cannon shot. It's just kind of electronic warfare, and let's see how your so that's going to be the damage from the original six you rolled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the ship is taking damage. I think some of the there are some sparks flying up from the panels
Yep.
in front of you both, and uh, yeah, I think I'd also like let's talk about what the ship looks like a little bit. I'd like to get away from. I've been watching a lot of Star Trek, and I would
Yep.
just like it to not look like a Star Trek shuttle.
Not look
Uh,
like a runabout. Yeah.
yeah, so maybe like you're both standing. You're both standing in like your little circles,
Mm-hmm.
and there's two of them, and so it's like a sphere where you are both kind of balanced in the middle. Uh, you've there are some. It's not a perfect sphere. It's just the area you're in is spherical,
Right.
and yeah, it has kind of like a Sputnik vibe to it, and
I dig it. I think in terms of the shape of the vessel,
Hmm.
I think in terms of shape of the vessel, I'm envisioning just. Oh, is the shape of the vessel circular like Sputnik, or is that
Um,
just the interior?
yeah, I don't know if that's just the interior. If you want to like rock out with the exterior, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, I want a like two hulled. I want to drift back to our Homeric origins a little bit here. I want
Uh-huh.
like a catamaran style ship. So it's like these two hulls intersected by a beam in the middle. And if this was a sailing ship on the sea, right, those hulls would have to stay in parallel. But I think in because we don't have to deal with because we're in a vacuum, we don't have to deal with friction. It's actually all on pivoting moments. It's all pivoting. So there's a center beam, and then the two hulls can like twist and spin, and so we can do cool um, kind of like spinny action if we like rotate one hull around one way and like fire, and there's jets at the back of them.
Oh
So it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
these two
yeah.
kind of like rocket ships that are then linked by this sort of centerpiece, but they can rotate, so they can do like cool tricky maneuvering things, even though there's no like huge
Yeah.
firepower to this thing.
Love it.
Um, and I think that's why we're in these circular things, because the holes might like pivot, and we need to gyroscopically be able to like not constantly be getting turned upside down. So even as the holes pivot, we stay in a relative sense of uh, the artificial gravity stays sort of relative to us. So like we're watching the holes pivot around us. Um,
Awesome.
and yeah, and I think we're just like at the opposite side of that tube, like the tube's between us, and we're in each side. One of us is in each side. It is
Hmm.
in each hull.
Hmm.
Hey, John, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
So
John.
yeah, spherical insides, two, conical, not conical, but boat sort of shaped hulls on the
Yeah.
outside connected. Yeah,
You.
and I think it's all fried up, yeah, from some EMP pulse.
Yep. 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 Yeah. The electronics are going. They're not quite totally fried, but there are sparks,
Yep.
and you were going to jam some. You were going to jam their, whatever ship it is, its
Yeah.
larger weapons. Assuming presumably it's some kind of battleship from Ithaca, because
Yep.
that's where you were
Yeah.
going.
I,
Uh,
I think we have just to even. I think we have a crybaby like from Firefly. I think we have a false ship signal generator. This is our our
nice.
get out of dodge thing. And so I say, okay, I think what this is a leadership role, or I think the action I want to use is leadership, and
Hmm.
I'm going to coordinate with Fenya that okay, I like do the countdown. I'm gonna launch the pod, and she's gonna gun it down to the surface, and hopefully that makes them think that the pod is us for long enough for us to get outside of their weapons range. Uh,
Cool.
yeah. So I this feels to me like acting under fire, right? Like we need to
Yep.
get out from underneath
Yep.
their yeah. Do I recognize any of the do I recognize the weaponry? Does it seem like standard
Uh
Ithaca class, Ithaca battle cruiser weapons?
yeah, let's act under fire, and then we'll see if you have time to read a sitch.
Cool.
Or to read a sitch, I think. Yep.
To leadership. Oh, let's try that again. Roll space. Jesus
Nice. Nice.
gosh. Well, friends who have been watching the affairs of Alexei, tonight's one of those nights where I just
Yeah,
keep
good. Good.
rolling.
No more of your cheating bullshit, Sean. I
Yeah.
watched you play Blades in the Dark the other night, and quite
Six
frankly,
six 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 six
I
six.
was I was appalled at just how nakedly you were cheating, and then like just like acting like it was no big deal. So,
Yeah.
eat your eat your shitty rolls.
Here I go.
You're still rolling way above average, in according to my
Yeah.
books.
By the books. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. You don't jam whatever cannon was aimed at the ship. And I think uh, alarms, what was just like a little bit of fizzing and some sparks, are now full on decompression alarms, and the sphere is starting to lose its integrity, and you're screaming towards the moon of Messina.
Nice, nice. So we're not so much flying into the moon as we're falling into the moon of
Indeed.
Messina.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of those like um, emergency like all these systems have failed.
Yeah.
Navigation systems have failed. Thrusters have failed. Um, uh, uh, everything is going down. Um, it's tough in this setting to not be having any kind of like technical skills
Yeah.
because we've established that um, we've established that uh, Alexi is a pilot and knows how to fly a ship, but when it comes to fixing things, I don't it he has no traits along those lines. So I'm thinking two different kind of thoughts. One of them is maybe we can run to the he can run to the engine room and blow the fire extinguisher and engage the backup and try to fix it just in time to not crash.
Right.
Or if you're like, no, there's just no way that like you have the technical know-how to do that. It's escape pods, land on the moon. Try not to die landing on the moon. Like ejection seat. Try not to die landing on the moon.
Yeah.
So
I,
it
I
feels like more like realistic given like the technology and what I know.
I think you're crashing.
Yeah.
I think it's going down. I don't think there's any
Yeah.
saving this thing.
I'm just good at fucking up ships, whether I'm on them or attacking them. One thing Alexi is really good at is crashing ships, his or otherwise. All right,
Mhm.
cool. Well, we've got suits because we are literally space pirates that attack ships from the outside in space. So I think
Yep.
it's fair to say that we have zero G suits that can survive out in whatever environment they might have. They have
Right.
little baby thrusters on them to kind of do some minor pivoting, but I think that all we need to do is fire them hard enough that we don't hit the ground and go splat.
Right.
So, um, so yeah, I think we're doing that mad chase where when you're putting on zero G suits, you kind of need someone else to be like buckling you and strapping you in. So I think me and Freya are both like, we probably have a little bit of the suit on already because like it would be dumb to not have this sort of
Yeah.
ready, but we're like slapping on helmets and buckling them in and checking the seals and making sure we're ready and trying to do that all fast enough before as like we're plummeting to the ground and like everything's frying. So yeah, I want to get her and myself, obviously, but yeah, get us both ready to uh, eject without in time before we just before we are going so fast that even our thrusters can't save us.
Cool.
So I cannot see any other situation other than what I'm doing is just trying to act under fire again. Like I just don't. I'd love to do a different move right now, but
Yeah.
it just feels like that moon is coming by real fast. Messina is just getting real close. Do
Yep.
you do you see that as any other
No,
move?
I think you're acting under fire. Yeah, I think you're trying to get your void gear on and get out of there.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll leadership again. It's absolutely about coordinating our efforts because it's
Yep.
just
Yep. And I
it's
think there's a moment where Fenya like looks down and can see the moon like through the floor, right?
yeah, right,
And
yeah,
and starts to freeze up, and yeah, you've got
yeah,
to you've got to say, hey, stay on it.
yeah. At some point, I kind of grab. I think like our helmets are not perfectly smooth, right? They have like a ridge along like the
Yeah.
jawline where the filters and all that stuff is. And I grab her by I grab her by the filter and I like pull her back to look at me, and I'm like, and I like lock eye contact with her, and I go, "We got this. We've trained for this. We can do this. It's no different than catching a ship mid-flight. We're just doing it to a planet."
Yep.
And I'm gonna really hope that there we go. There we
All
go.
right.
This is how we start off all the sessions. Things go from status quo to all fucked up, and I just barely survive, and then now we're in a new situation.
It's almost like this game was designed to do this.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Cool. So I think you all are kind of getting out of the ship. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think what we're gonna try and do is um, allow the battle cruiser to believe that we have been. No, never mind. We can't play this fast. We can't play this smart. Battlecruiser thinks so. The Battlecruiser thinks we're just getting out as fast as possible. But we are
Yep.
going to try and go up, right? So at some point, I think right as we're falling, I like pull a lever and our spheres pivot 90 degrees so that the floor that was open is now above us, and then
Yeah.
we shoot out so that we're not ejecting with a ship falling on top of us. We're ejecting with a ship beneath us, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
firing our thrusters and gunning them as hard as we can to try and resist the pull, so we don't hit the ground at a deadly velocity.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, you've all done. So I think you've done low orbit entry training, and I think you've walked your pirates through the some simulations. But I think part of the problem of not having ducal support is you cannot just like do low orbit entry with a bunch of pirates and then get picked up and head back home and slap each other on the back and be like, that was awesome, good training. So I think you're doing one of many low orbit entries, and Fenya Arneth, the pirate, is doing her first real one in real time,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I think your armor is made for this, and you've got a kind of built-in glider once you get into Atmo above the blue jungles of Messina. But for right now, you are, yeah, I think you're entering the moon's orbit, or the moon's Atmo from low orbit, and yeah, I think we're making another roll
Okay.
to see how this goes. Uh, or do you think that 11 like was you landing? Was you like, yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
I
no,
think
no.
I think yeah, I think that was like I think the fire was you crashed into Messina, right? Like
Right.
I think the
Yeah.
fire was like you know, but absolutely, I feel like as we're I do think that this dovetails into another move, because like as we're descending, I want to try and find a place. I want to try and either land next to the ship if it can be repaired, or land next to some sort of civilization. Like we want to try and glide in the right direction. So
Yeah.
I think as we're coming down and we're
Read a
like,
hitch.
yeah, I think we're gonna read a Sitch. I want to see
Awesome.
like what's around, and what can I find on this planet. And I think
Awesome.
I know Messina civilization. I don't know its geography, but I think I
Right.
know like, okay, there's big cities here, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So yeah, let's do that. What action does this look like? I think it is liaison. I think this is about knowing what's around and like looking for things, or it's like nothing and I roll at zero. Maybe I don't know. I don't. What do you think? Liaison sound right for knowing? We
It
haven't
doesn't.
defined. We haven't defined the set of skills that exist, so it's
We have
hard to
not.
know if I'm missing one, right? Like it's hard to know if like,
Right.
oh, well,
Right.
that should all be covered by this because we don't actually know what they are. Okay, well then I'll roll jack of all trades.
Okay.
Good. Man, I am killing it tonight, and by killing it, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I want to throw out the option for Rita Sitch that it says on a miss the MC might have you ask one question anyway, but be prepared for the worst. So
yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah,
want to throw that at me, like I imagine I could still observe something, I just might be falling into the helm,
yeah. Ask a question. Absolutely.
out of the frying pan into the fire. Um, all right, what's my best way in? No, what? Who poses the best? What represents the best? Okay, what? Who or what represents the best opportunity for me to get off this rock? For me to get off this moon? What represents the best opportunity for me to get off this moon? I'm thinking space stations. I'm thinking, any kind of.
Yeah,
I don't think it's our ship. I don't feel like it's repairable.
it
It's
is not the
probably,
ship. It's definitely getting to a city
yeah,
and wiring Klaus and letting him know that uh this has gone poorly.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh and I think as you glide to a landing um in the jungle, uh I think your partner's next to you, and she's 100 yards away,
hmm
and lands all right. And I think as you all look up, you can see streaking shapes of of a hunter seeker team, entering low orbit. They've basically they've sent their void knights out to get you,
yeah. Great.
and they are making a very similar type of entry, except they're doing it not out of a ship that's crashing into a moon, and they're probably doing it in formation, and with a lot of trained folks who with half a dozen, with a platoon of trained soldiers who have done this a few hundred times.
Yeah. Yeah, I dig it. Is it fair to say that as part of the answer to that question, though, that like I saw some city as we were coming down. I saw, like,
Totally.
not that we're close to it, but just like at least I have a direction. Okay, cool,
Yeah, southeast is one of the dome cities of Messina.
great. Um, uh, so I think that this is one of those like moments where it looks like the light until we realize what's happening. So like I'm looking at Frey, at Fenya, and and I'm like looking at, like, on my wrist, I have some like data pad, and I kind of start getting, like, as soon as we enter orbit, like it starts pulling up localized information, and I kind of get a general sense of our bearings, and I'm looking at her and like pointing in the direction of the city before we drop below the tree line, while we can
Yeah,
still see it,
yeah,
and I'm like looking, really hopeful. And then I think we, hear the jet thrusters above us, and I look up, and it's like, shake my head like, these guys never give up. Um, and yeah, we gotta. I sort of point down to the tree line and be like, we gotta. There's no way we're fighting them. We gotta ditch them we gotta lose them in the jungle. Um, So I want to dive down under those trees, under the canopy,
yeah.
bust through the blue canopy of Messina, and get outside of their visuals.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. The dome city is named Savoca.
Savoka, Sevoka.
Savoca.
City. Yeah, awesome. I love it. Um, yeah. So it's disengaged gliders. It's like flying along with our with like our void suits on and like the glider mode going, and our thrusters that again are not giving us like jetpack speeds, that we're giving us like control speeds. It's gliders on, and then I signal her, and we just like turn our gliders off, so we just drop, and then fire the jets again to try and fight the gravity as soon as we hit the tree line. That's the plan, at least.
Cool.
It's like drop onto the tree line really quickly, so they can't so they just jet past us. We're gonna Night Witches style it. We're gonna slow enough that they can't that they fly right overhead.
Got it.
Try not to crash and burn while we do it.
Yeah. Sounds good. I like the idea of you all hiding in the canopy. That is very cool.
Yeah.
Is this just another act under fire, do you think? Is
It's
this
hard to think of it as something else. Well, it could be deceive someone,
yeah, it's totally deceived someone. Let's do that one.
right?
Yep.
Right. It's and I think the question is like, do I have the leverage? And I think the leverage I have is the canopy, the uncertainty that So I
Yeah.
think I've got room to deceive someone. So yeah. And
Yeah, I mean we're bending that move quite a bit by doing this, but that's fine. Let's do it.
yeah,
Um I like it.
yeah.
What are you make
I'm
that roll.
rolling. I'm rolling leadership. This is coordinating with
Yep.
with this is coordinating with
Yep.
Freya. There we go.
Nice. Yeah, they zip by you. I mean, you've trained either with those teams or have trained those teams, right? So you know what they're doing. Um, three are going to go to high ground and set up their what is it called? It's a type of science fiction rifle, and it just like throws slugs of metal. Not a bolt thrower. A oh shit! Why can't I think of that damn name? Uh, anyway, they're setting up their science fiction pew 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 rifle.
Yeah,
And
slug thrower or
no, it's like a I can't think of the name. And it'll come to me.
is it called
Hopefully,
a gun?
yeah. They're setting up a science fiction rifle that they couldn't ever use in void combat because it could just go through a ship and you know uh, and kill everyone. So, but upon landing, it unlocks.
Yeah,
The rights to it unlock, and the church's literally the church's locks come off of it once it registers that they are in moon atmosphere,
yeah,
and so they're like taking off the church locks,
yeah,
setting up a tripod, and so three are going to be uh, one is going to be a sniper, one is going to be a caller, and the other is going to be a guard, and then the other three are going to be moving through the forest with swords to both a Gauss weapon, John. Yeah, thank you.
yeah. Gauss
That
weapon.
does
Yeah,
it. And the other three will be moving through the jungle with swords to give them coordinates and possibly kill you once you've been shot.
yeah, yeah.
So
Or collect us. Um,
but the good news is they overshot. So like you've got some time, but the bad news is they probably know that you're trying to get to Savoca.
yeah,
So they
yeah,
kind of like know where you're going, but they don't really know where you are. You're moving through the woods. You're moving through the woods. You're moving through the jungle. It's weird bird calls, I think, and just a very different, less sterile environment than everything else we've been in up till now in the show.
yeah, yeah.
And
Right. We've been in very high tech, very industrial, or modernized. Everything's spaceships and whatnot. Yeah, it's the first time we've seen nature, I think, in the show. Even
Yep.
when we were like on a comet with Studebaker, right? Like it was still like space. You couldn't go outside. So yeah, this
Yeah.
is love it. One one interesting thing to note about that, John, I don't know if this was. It's been a while since we talked about this, but guns were outlawed, at the end of the war, and so
Yes.
they're only really usable, like the fact that Lexi still keeps 3 bullets on him as sort of a souvenir, but not a gun, but just like
Right.
yeah, like it is technically contraband. I don't even know if he still has them anymore, but like
Yeah.
they're significant. So I think them using a rifle, not only a Gauss rifle, not only is indicative of this weapon can only be used, on the surface of a it can't be used in space, right? Not only is that true, but I think also it means that like new provisions have been put in place because when my brother was in charge, that would not have been a standard. That was a thing we ended at the end of the war. Was
Yeah.
was using this. So this is some dispensations have been made to use this weaponry. So just a fun, like, I think when I see it, I'm just like, those weapons were we outlawed those weapons for a good reason.
Yep.
And
Yep. And I think like they probably haven't been in use since the Pirate Wars, right? And which was like the wars your like parents were in, and
oh
and
yeah, nice.
and so yeah, I think this is also like looking at the consequences of trying to solve political problems with piracy. Is that they went to the church and
Escalated.
asked for permission, and they got
Yeah,
it under very slim conditions. But yeah, those church locks are not coming off unless you're on the moon. So cool. Uh, you're moving through the jungle, lots of birds, lots of
hmm
croaking and hooting and sounds of life. And
is
yeah, I
it
feel like
is atmosphere breathable? Can we take off the
yeah, I think you can.
yeah
I
yeah
think you yeah, I think like the visors can come up. Maybe like
awesome.
the helm stay on, but like something
Yep.
clicks up, and and yeah, I think you can tell that Fenya's never been in Atmo before.
Yeah.
Um, she's starting to kind of have I've never been outside before panic reaction, and she takes a pill and it does some breathing and nods to you and says like I've got it under control, and gets her sword kind of in the crook of her arm and says which way are we going?
I pull up the recalibrate based on the data pad, and I say uh, Savoca is that way. Going straight, going straight there is we've got 2 teams that are looking for us, and they're going to know that we need to find civilization. So if we go straight there, chances are they're going to pick us off along the way. We're going to need to find a we're going to need to find a we need to find a path that doesn't ever involve us breaking canopy cover, and that might mean going sideways. That might mean making this trip 3 or 4 or 5 times longer than we want it to be, but that's better than getting caught out in the open.
And she says, I don't know how you navigate this chaos. This doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I don't honestly think Alexei is. Um, he's certainly not in his element. I think he's been in Atmo before,
Right.
but he's like, it's okay. And how visible are the stars right now?
I
And
think
and
it's
and
like
the
I think the light is fading. I think the moon is turning, and the light of the distant sun and the light of Leviathan that reflects a lot of that is fading. So you'll have a couple hours of night.
yeah,
In a it's coming soon.
nice, nice, nice. So I just sort of point to Leviathan. I say, all right, We're going to keep the Leviathan on our left, and that's how we know. And as it sets, we're gonna start watching the constellations, because literally we're going to pilot by the stars. I mean, that feels like the absolute right thing to be. As long as we can see them,
Cool.
and that's how we're going to stay on target.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm going to send her out to a perch. I'm going to go to another one. We're going to coordinate, and we're going to look for a path there that will avoid as much exposure as possible. I think I'm reading a sitch. I'm
Yep.
going to try to find the best way into Savoca.
Yep. 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 Do you have your true sword on you?
I do, yeah.
Awesome. Neat.
Yeah. I think I've been carrying it ever since the sister gave it to me. I think at this point I don't feel safe, um, leaving it really anywhere. And if I remember correctly, the blade is made entirely of energy, right? That is the phenomenon. Like most swords are physical swords, but I think this is just a hilt, and when you power it on, it lights laser sword drums, or is it a physical blade that is sort of electrified when it turns
Yeah,
on?
I think it's a a physical blade that is both electrified and networked and has an AI.
Nice, awesome, right? That makes sense. That makes total
Yeah.
sense,
I think it does have kind of a lightsaber hum to it
right?
when you take it out of the scabbard. But yeah,
Do you think it's? I mean, I've been leaning on this a lot because I've been working with Freya. But do you think it's fair to
yeah.
say that since I'm coordinating efforts, this is leadership again?
I'm down with that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I liked how
Yeah.
you said you go there, I go here. We'll keep the. I think when you told her that we're keeping the Leviathan to our left and walking in this direction, I think that kind of like gave her something to look at. It gave
Mhm.
her other than just like, oh shit, another.
It's just endless trees and strange noises we don't recognize. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's got to be terrifying.
All
Um,
right. Here we go. Rolling the dice. Okay. Eight.
cool. That was Rita Sitch, right?
That was research. Yeah.
Cool, cool. So what do you get? Like one or two
I
answers
get
or questions?
one. Yeah. On a 7 to 9, ask MC one question. Yeah, I mean, I would love to ask about all the threats and what I should look out for and all of that jazz. But I'm just going to ask you the one question: what's the best way into Savoca?
Right.
Because everything else is just would be nice, but I don't know.
Yeah. The easiest way through Savoca without going into open land is going through this gorge that is coming up on your data pad as Tiger Gorge. And yeah, it's just this rent in the earth that will lead you right into, I think like the water that runs through the gorge, runs right to Savoca.
Nice.
And yeah, and I think
Is it me that realizes it, or Freya that comes back with the?
I think it's both of you working together to kind of figure out where you can and can't go.
Right.
And it's like, no, we
Oh,
can't go
Fenya,
there
sorry.
because we have, yeah, Fenya, I think we can't go this way because we have to go over the hills. We can't go that way because we'd have to, come up on the road. So, this way would take us close to the rail lines, which are all clear cut. So it's through this gorge.
Yeah.
And I think, it's her, she says, Tiger, is that a famous general?
I think Alexi would know tiger as an animal. Does that make sense? I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
I'm down with that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think he says it's yeah, he says you remember you remember the Tiger constellation. You remember the Tiger constellation that's outside of Suez, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The tiger, it has a tail.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's supposedly an ancient animal. Um, I don't know if they still exist, but we'll find out if that's why. I really, from everything I've heard, I really don't. Hopefully, they didn't name the gorge. They named the gorge after the constellation, and not the animal.
Right.
Uh, and because I'm sure Alexei may know what a tiger is, but he's never seen one.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, so I say, well, there's something else you're gonna do for the first time. We're gonna go swimming. We gotta go down that, we gotta go in that gorge and in the water. Um,
Cool.
so yeah, I think we're gonna climb down, find ourselves either a goat trail down or just kind of dig our um, just sort of dig our void arm, like our void grapples into the side of the gorge wall and sort of
Yeah.
slide down, with
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and just let them kind of dig ruts in the earth as we go down.
Yeah. I think oddly that is something that Fenya does without like a blink, right? I mean, I think she just like, going down like, that's just like putting your tether on a ship and
Right,
and running up a ship. Uh, the gravity could even be the same depending on how the ship is thrusting. So
right,
I think that's something that's almost relaxing to her, which is to me that would be totally terrifying.
right.
And
But rappelling down a cliff wall is, yeah, it's the same. It's the same as
yeah, and
scaling across the edge of a ship,
if
void
I
space.
fall, I'm just gonna break every bone in my body. I'm not gonna go into the Leviathan, which is real death. That's real death. Breaking every bone is like, you have to go into a vat for a while. It sucks. It'll probably hurt.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, I think she repels down with you, and you all are running along the water to make it harder to track, and and yeah, and I think at some point she says, "Are we running through water?"
Yep. This is water. It's naturally occurring.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think at that point she like takes some and like drinks it. Says, "I can't believe we're standing in this. Is it against the law? Are we breaking laws?"
Probably, honestly, like I'm sure that this is a water is feeding Svoko. I think we're breaking more laws by standing in it and contaminating it than we are by taking from it, at least in the amount that we're taking. Um, the good news is out here, no one's going to enforce that.
Right.
There's no one out here. But yeah, I think when we finally do, Alexei is sort of more reverent of the water as a source of life than as a like thing that is owned, and so he's
Yeah.
like, let's not tromp through it and put our nasty suits in it as much as possible. Let's try and roll alongside it, but absolutely, let's take a drink from it
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
you know and I think in this space opera world, flowing running water means safe water. Like
Right.
this is where we lean towards Star Wars away from Star Trek, that it's like, if it's water, it's safe to drink.
Yep. 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 Yeah. I'm
So
down with. I'm totally down with that. And I think you would know that like one of the things this Duke has is like safe running. Like you would know that that's one of his assets,
nice. Yeah.
one of that family's assets. And yeah, one more thing before we take our first break is I think you're walking along the side of the river and taking and going at a good pace.
Yeah.
And you're a few hours away from Savoca, and you both start to get these kind of headaches that uh, just like are really sharp into your temples, and it feels like you can't stop thinking about hunger and eating meat. And uh, I think that's when you remember that Messina tigers are psychic and they have psionic powers because of course they do. And
And
because
it wasn't
once I was playing a game that was going pretty well, and then I said the word psychic tigers, and like everyone at the table sat up and was like, "What?" and lost their minds. So I'm throwing psychic tigers into this one too because
nice.
it's too good.
It's
It's
too
it's
good
too good
not
not
to
to
have.
use.
Awesome.
So
I love it.
yeah, I think you realize that uh,
We might be being hunted by more
you're
than
being
one
hunted.
pack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're being hunted by who knows how many.
Yeah.
Um, and uh, Fenya says, is it the air that's making me feel this way?
And um, I think uh, Alexei like puts his hand on her shoulder and sort of like looks over our head and looks up in the trees above and whatnot. And um, I say no, because you've told me I know this, so I say no. Um, it's the tigers. It's the tigers. I remember now. Um, I remember now the stories, the myths that I've heard, the legends that I've heard of the tigers. We're being hunted by two packs now, and
Oh wow, yeah,
let's um, let's break, and we'll figure out what the heck we do about these tigers when we come
love
back.
it,
I love it. I
love
love
it.
this. This is great. This is great.
Cool.
All right, friends. Thanks for hanging out with us. Judd and I are going to go make tea and stretch and do all those other things for a few minutes. And when we come back, we'll figure out how Fenya and Alexei fare with psychic tigers. I love it, Judd. It's so good.